Have you ever stopped and truly considered the deafening sound your silence makes in someone's life? I'm not talking about just pulling back a little bit, not about sending fewer texts or waiting an extra hour to call them back. No, I'm talking about disappearing, completely vanishing. No texts, no calls, no social media presence, just nothing. What do they really feel when the person they took for granted is suddenly gone? If you are ready to find out, and more importantly, ready to reclaim your power, stick with me. This video will change everything for you. We live in a world where people have gotten far too comfortable thinking they can treat you however they want. They believe you're a permanent fixture in their lives, that you'll always be there, no matter how little they give, no matter how much they take. They put you on a shelf, an option they can pick up when they're bored or lonely, and they get comfortable in that power. They take you for granted. But here's where you change the entire game. When you suddenly and silently remove yourself from their life, you don't just leave a space, you create a vacuum. You flip the entire script on them, and you take back the one thing they thought they owned: your attention. That's when you get to watch their world, their ego, their entire sense of control begin to unravel. Listen to me closely. This is, without a single doubt, one of the most important videos you will ever watch. Especially if you've ever found yourself in a relationship, a confusing situationship, or even a one-sided friendship where you slowly started to feel like you were nothing more than a backup plan. Because today, you and I are going to dissect a powerful, undeniable reality, what they truly feel when you simply vanish. We're not just going to scratch the surface. I am going to personally walk you through the 10 intense emotional stages they are guaranteed to go through when you disappear from their world. By the end of this, you will understand with absolute clarity why sometimes the strongest, most self-loving, most life-altering decision you can possibly make is to walk away and never, ever look back. If you are ready to reclaim your worth, if you are ready to make them feel the full weight of your absence in a way they have never felt anything before, I want you to do something for yourself right now. Drop a comment below that says, "I'm done being an option." Go ahead, claim it. Because after this video, you will never be anyone's second choice or backup plan again. And a word of advice, stick around until the very end. Because I have a bonus 10th emotional stage to reveal that they will absolutely not see coming. And it's the one that will give you all the power back. You don't want to miss it. All right, let's dive in. Stage 1, the shock and sting of rejection. This, right here, is the beginning of their emotional downfall. It's the first cold wave of reality that crashes over them. And trust me, they never see it coming. In their mind, you were a guarantee, you were permanent. They never, for 1 second, believed you would actually leave. You were the one who always put in the effort, weren't you? The one who cared more, the one who initiated conversations, the one who made things happen. You were their rock, their constant, their safety net, the one thing in their chaotic world they thought they'd never ever lose, until one day, you just weren't there anymore. When you disappear, it's like a physical blow. It's a shock to their system, a brick they never saw coming that hits them right between the eyes. You've heard that old saying, you never know what you have until it's gone, right? Well, for them, this isn't just a saying anymore. It's their new, painful reality. They suddenly realize that your presence, the very thing they took for granted, was providing them with love, validation, and a constant, reliable source of energy. And you just ripped it all away. But you need to understand this. This isn't some surface-level rejection. This isn't like being told no, or being ignored for a day or two. No, this is so much deeper. It's intensely personal. It's a sting that cuts right through their pride, their ego, and most importantly, their fragile sense of control. Because let's be brutally honest, when someone knows you'll always be there, they start to test you. They push your boundaries. They treat you like an option because you've never given them a reason to believe you'd be anything else. They've been throwing you crumbs of affection while you've been single-handedly carrying the weight of the entire connection. And in their mind, that was safe. You were never going anywhere. And then you vanish. No warning, no dramatic exit, no tearful goodbye, no explanation. In that single act of silence, the entire power dynamic shifts completely. And what do they feel? Panic. They feel profoundly rejected. And it's not just about you being gone. It's about what your absence means. It means they don't control you anymore. It means they can't just snap their fingers and have you come running back. And that loss of control, that sudden realization that they are no longer the center of your universe, it hits them harder than they would ever admit. This is why, if you truly want them to feel this sting, you can't announce your departure. Don't threaten to leave. Don't give ultimatums. And please stop begging for their attention. You just go cold turkey, silent, gone. Because when you vanish without a single word, you force them to sit with the consequences of their own actions. You send a message that is louder, clearer, and more powerful than anything you could have ever said. I am done being disrespected. And here is the beautiful part. You don't chase, you don't check in on them. You don't look back. You let them sit in the mess they created. And I promise you, when that sting of rejection hits, it's a pain they never imagined possible. The one person they thought they had complete control over, that person is gone. And all they're left with is the bitter taste of regret. Have you ever been the one carrying the whole connection? Share your story in the comments below, because your experience can empower someone else. Stage 2. The echoing void of your absence. Now, this is where it starts to get really interesting for you and really painful for them. Once that initial shock of rejection begins to fade, they move into the second stage, the void. This is the stage where the silence starts to have a weight. It's when they begin to realize something they never ever expected. Life without you just feels empty. See, in their mind, they probably had a whole story cooked up. They told themselves that if you ever left, it wouldn't matter that much. Oh, if they walk away, I'll be fine. I'll just move on. I don't really need them anyway. They built up this narrative of indifference to protect their own ego. But when you actually disappear, that fantasy shatters, and the cold, hard truth smacks them right in the face. Day by day, the void you left behind begins to grow. They notice it in the little things. The good morning text that doesn't arrive and leaves their morning feeling grey. The phone that doesn't ring at night with your voice on the other end. The silence where your laughter used to be. It's not just silence they feel, it's a profound, gnawing emptiness. It's a void that starts to eat away at them from the inside out. Because whether they are ready to admit it or not, you brought something real and vibrant into their life. You brought warmth on their cold days. You brought stability to their chaos. You brought an energy that made everything feel a little bit brighter. And without you, everything just feels bland. They go through the same daily routines, but the color is gone. They hang out with the same friends, but the spark is missing. They go to bed at night, and the room feels colder, bigger, emptier. And that S, when it truly hits them like a punch to the gut, they miss you, badly. But here's the crucial part you need to understand. They aren't just missing you, they are missing the version of themselves that only existed when you were around. They miss the validation you gave them, they miss the comfort. They miss the sense of importance they felt from having your unwavering attention. Your departure didn't just take you away, it stripped them of the positive reflection of themselves that they saw in your eyes. And that is a void that no one else can fill. Think of it like this. When someone takes you for granted, you become like a piece of furniture in the room of their life. You're just there. Always available, always reliable, always in the same spot. They stop seeing you, really seeing you, and convinced themselves that if you were gone, they could just swap you out for a new chair or a new lamp, and life would go on as normal. But here's the cold, hard truth they are now facing. No one brings the unique energy, the specific comfort, the irreplaceable presence that you brought into their life. Oh, they'll try to fill that void. They might go looking for someone new, a quick distraction to numb the emptiness. They'll dive into work, bury themselves in hobbies or party with friends, doing anything to avoid the silence. But deep down, no matter what they do, it's never the same. Because you brought a rhythm to their life that made everything feel lighter, easier, warmer, and more meaningful. And now that the music is gone, the void only gets bigger and louder. At first, they'll fight it. They'll live in denial. But as the days bleed into weeks, that emptiness becomes a monster they can no longer ignore. Suddenly, they start craving all the little things they never appreciated. The deep conversations that made them feel truly understood. The inside jokes that broke up the monotony of their day, the way you looked at them, the way you made them feel seen in a world where everyone else is just scrolling past. It's those small, everyday moments that will come back to haunt them the most, and those moments, they're gone forever. Now listen to me, if you want this void to hit them with its full, crushing force, you cannot give them an easy way back to you. You must disappear completely. Block them on social media, delete their number, remove every single doorway they could use to peek back into your life. Because the harder it is for them to find you, the deeper and wider that void grows. Every time they instinctively reach for their phone to tell you something, only to remember they can't, that void cuts deeper. Let them sit in that deafening silence. Let them live with the consequences of your absence, because people never truly appreciate the sun until it's gone. And right now, all they have is the cold, and they are missing you desperately. If you're ready to reclaim your power and create that void, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more videos that will help you stay strong. Stage 3. The maddening grip of curiosity. By this point, the initial sting of rejection has settled into a dull ache. The void is growing larger by the day, and now a new, more frantic energy takes over, overwhelming curiosity. It doesn't just creep in, it consumes their every waking thought. Day and night, one question races through their mind on an endless loop. Where are you? What are you doing? And the one that terrifies them the most: who are you with? You have transformed from someone they felt they controlled, someone so predictable and available, into a complete and total mystery. And for a person who thrives on control, nothing is more unsettling, more maddening than the unknown. In our hyper-connected world, this stage is amplified 1,000 times over. They'll become a digital detective. They'll check your Instagram 20 times a day. They'll refresh your Facebook page, hoping for a sign of life. They'll scroll back through your old posts, your tagged photos, desperately searching for any clue, any hint of what you're up to. But here's the powerful twist. You've gone completely dark. No updates, no new posts, no stories, no status changes, nothing. And that digital silence, that absolute lack of information, drives them insane. Because human beings are wired to hate a vacuum of information. We need answers, and when we can't get them, our minds spiral. Have you moved on already? Are you seeing someone new? Are you happier without me? Their deepest insecurities are put on a giant spotlight and forced into overdrive. They simply cannot stand not knowing, so they start looking for answers in other places. Maybe they casually bring you up with mutual friends, fishing for information. Maybe they start showing up at places they know you used to frequent, hoping for a chance encounter. They will never admit they care this much, but their desperate actions will betray them every single time. And here is the psychological trap they can't escape. When their mind can't get real answers, it starts to fill in the blanks on its own. And it always fills them with their own worst-case scenario. They'll imagine you on a date, laughing with someone new. They'll picture you thriving in your career, glowing with a newfound confidence, happier and more beautiful than you ever were with them. And those mental movies playing on a loop in their head eat away at them day after day. Their curiosity quickly turns into a full-blown obsession, and the less they know, the more they feel they need to know. This is where your power lies. Their desperate curiosity is your greatest weapon. So please, hear me on this. Do not give them crumbs. Don't post a cryptic, subtle hint on your story. Don't try to feed their obsession to make them jealous. You give them nothing but absolute, impenetrable silence. Let them stew in the torment of their own imagination, because whatever story their mind creates will always hit them harder and hurt them more than the truth ever could. If you feel that power shifting, if you're ready to let their curiosity work in your favor, hit the like button on this video right now. Stage 4, the brutal mirror of self-reflection. And now we've reached the most dangerous territory for them. This is the turning point. This is where all that frantic, outward-facing curiosity collapses inward, and they are finally left alone in a room with the only person left to blame: themselves. After weeks, maybe even months, of not knowing where you are or what you're doing, they finally give up looking for you outside of themselves. They turn inward, and that's when the deep, painful, and unavoidable self-reflection begins. The questions start to creep in, quietly at first, then getting louder and louder. Was I too cold with them? Was I too distant? Did I push them away? Did I take everything they gave and offer nothing in return? And the one that breaks them: did I ruin the best thing I ever had? Regret starts to settle into their bones, a heavy weight on their soul that they simply cannot shake. And here's a hard truth about human nature: people hate admitting when they are wrong. Their pride and their ego will fight this stage at every single turn. But when you completely disappear, there's no one left to argue with. There's no more reassurance from you, no more of you smoothing things over. They are left utterly alone with their mistakes, forced to look at them head on. And that mirror of self-reflection, it is brutal. For the first time, they are forced to see the reality they were completely blind to when you were still around. There are no escapes, no distractions, no excuses. Just the deafening silence of their own thoughts, screaming their failures back at them. And let me tell you, that kind of silence is louder than any argument you ever had with them. They'll try to run from it. They'll turn the TV up louder. They'll scroll endlessly through their phone. They'll fill every second of their day with meaningless activities, hoping the noise will drown out the voice of their conscience. But the moment they stop moving, the second the room gets quiet, it all comes flooding back in a tidal wave of regret. And that's when the replays start. They will lie awake at night, their mind replaying every conversation, every interaction, every time you reached out and they left you on read, every moment you needed a little reassurance and they brushed you off with a cold shoulder, every time they dismissed your feelings or made you feel small and insignificant. And now, with the perfect 2020 clarity of hindsight, each one of those memories hits them like a physical punch to the gut. It's a brutal, agonizing process, because deep down, they finally know the truth. They had something good, something rare, something that doesn't just come around twice in a lifetime, and they destroyed it with their own carelessness and indifference. What makes this stage so incredibly powerful is that it's all happening inside their own head. You're not there to argue with them. You're not there to explain yourself. You're not there to soften the blow for them. They can't talk their way out of this one. They can't spin the story to make themselves look like the victim anymore. No, the mirror is crystal clear now, and the only face staring back at them is their own. At night, when they try to sleep, the what-ifs will torment them. What if I had treated them better? What if I had just put in a little more effort? What if I had appreciated them when I still had the chance? It becomes a vicious cycle, an endless, torturous loop of reflection and regret that steals their peace and eats away at their soul. And here is the most crucial part for you. You cannot step in here. Do not give them closure. Do not explain why you left, because the moment you do, you let the pressure off. The lesson is lost, and they escape the very discomfort that was finally forcing them to grow. Self-reflection only has power when it happens in total isolation. So let them sit in it. Let them feel every single ounce of that guilt, because in this stage, the pain they feel isn't punishment. It's a teacher, a harsh, relentless, but necessary teacher. And the longer they sit with it, the clearer the truth becomes. They didn't lose you by accident. They lost you because of who they chose to be. If you're done waiting for them to see your worth and you're ready to put yourself first, comment, "I choose me," below. Stage 5. The desperate urge to pursue you. After what feels like an eternity of sitting in their own self-inflicted storm of guilt and regret, something finally shifts inside them. The quiet reflection turns into a restless anxiety. The guilt transforms into a desperate longing. And before they even know what's happening, they're hit with an urge so powerful they can't fight it. The overwhelming urge to pursue you. And right here, my friend, is where the tables completely and beautifully turn. Do you remember how it used to be? You were the one holding everything together, weren't you? You were the one who reached out first, the one who cared more, the one who pursued, the one who poured all of your energy into keeping that connection alive while they did the bare minimum. But now, that role has been violently ripped away from them, and for the first time they feel the painful imbalance. Suddenly, they're the one pacing their room with their phone in their hand, wondering if they should text you. They're the one typing out a long, heartfelt message, only to delete it, rewrite it, and still be too terrified to hit send. They are paralyzed by the fear of how you might respond, or even worse, that you won't respond at all. It usually starts small. A random late night, "Hey, I was just thinking about you." Maybe a like on an old Instagram post from months ago, a pathetic little signal fire hoping you'll notice. But when those small baits don't work, they get bolder. A long message sent after a few drinks, when their ego is down and their emotions are raw, hoping that manufactured vulnerability will finally pull you back in. They might even try to engineer accidental encounters, suddenly showing up at your favorite coffee shop or asking mutual friends where you'll be this weekend. It is pure desperation dressed up to look like coincidence. But here is what they fail to realize in their panic. You hold all the power now. Their urge to pursue you doesn't just come from a place of love or genuine remorse. It comes from panic. It comes from the terrifying realization that the dynamic has shifted, possibly forever. For the first time, they are not in control, and that loss of control gnaws at them day and night. Yes, they want you back, but they don't just want the relationship back. They want back that comfortable version of themselves that felt so safe and secure because you were always there. They are chasing not only you, but the comfort, the validation, and the emotional safety net you provided for so long. This is the trap where so many people fall. They see the pursuit as proof. Proof that the person has finally changed. Proof that they've realized your true value. Do not be fooled. This chase is about easing their discomfort, not about honoring your worth. That is why your continued silence is more powerful than any words you could ever say. Every time they reach out and are met with nothing, their desperation grows. Every time they try to bait you and you don't bite, their frustration deepens. Because when someone takes you for granted, the only way they ever learn is when you stop rewarding their bad behavior. Responding even just once hands the power right back to them. But your silence keeps the power exactly where it belongs, with you. So let them pursue. Let them chase. Let them burn with the frustration of wanting something they can no longer have. Let them finally feel what it's like to be on the other side, where your effort is met with silence and your energy is poured into a void. Because every unanswered message teaches them the same brutal lesson, louder and louder each time. They lost you. If this message is resonating, share this video with one person you know who needs to hear this and reclaim their power. Stage 6. The war between fleeting relief and crushing regret. This stage is a paradox, and it's one that will mess with their head completely. When you first disappear, they might actually feel a strange, fleeting flicker of relief. It sounds crazy, right? But it's human nature. At the very beginning, their ego will spin this story that your absence is actually freedom. They'll tell themselves things like, "Finally, I don't have to deal with their needs anymore," or "I don't have to explain myself all the time." For a brief, shining moment, they convince themselves they are better off without you. They celebrate this so-called independence. They go out more, they laugh a little too loudly at parties, they swipe endlessly through dating apps, trying to prove to themselves that they're fine. And for a moment, it feels good. It feels easy. But here's the unshakable truth about that kind of freedom. It's a complete illusion, because freedom without meaning, without genuine connection, without depth, it always collapses into a black hole of emptiness. At first, this new freedom is intoxicating, like a cheap sugar high. They dive headfirst into distractions, seeking out new faces and casual flings, anything to avoid the reality of the void you left behind. But those distractions are shallow. They feel exciting for a night, but fade into absolutely nothing by the morning. They keep themselves busy, because being busy means they don't have to think. But busy only lasts for so long. And when the noise finally dies down, when the party is over and their friends go home, when their phone stops buzzing, they are left alone in the silence. And that's when it hits them. The regret. It creeps in like a shadow they can't escape. They realize that the freedom they were celebrating just feels hollow. The new people they thought could replace you don't bring the same depth, the same energy, the same grounding presence that you did. It's like trying to drink salt water when you're dying of thirst. At first it feels like it's quenching the need, but the more they drink, the thirstier, more dehydrated and more desperate they become. They thought they could just swap you out with the swipe of a finger, but they are learning a hard lesson. You can't replace someone who gave you genuine emotional stability with a cheap, surface-level distraction. The gap is too wide. The contrast is too painfully sharp. And that realization absolutely crushes them. They'll try to fight it. They'll put on a brave face for their friends. They'll curate a perfect life on social media, posting pictures of themselves living their best life, trying to prove to the world, and mostly to themselves, that they don't care. But late at night, when the performance is over and the mask comes off, the regret is suffocating. They miss the comfort of your presence. They miss the way you checked in on them, the way you made them feel seen and important. The relief they once felt is now completely gone, replaced by a heavy, suffocating regret. And you don't step back in to save them from this emptiness, because they need to feel it fully. It's only when the temporary relief burns out and the distractions stop working that they finally understand the devastating truth. They didn't lose you in exchange for freedom. They lost you to their own foolishness, and that is a regret that will haunt them for a very, very long time. Has someone in your life gone through this stage of fake freedom only to come crashing back to reality? Tell us your story in the comments. Stage 7. The desperate desire to play the game. By now, the panic is setting in. They are losing control, and they know it. And when people who are used to being in control feel that power slipping away, they often turn to their last resort, manipulation. They start trying to play the game. This stage is one of the most revealing because it exposes the true depth of their desperation. Instead of facing their mistakes with honesty and vulnerability, they resort to cheap strategies and tactics, trying to trick you into giving them back the power they lost. So what does this look like in your life? It starts with subtle moves. They might start acting distant on purpose, trying to flip the script on you and make you wonder where they've gone. It's a pathetic attempt to make you chase them again. Then it escalates. Suddenly, their social media becomes a carefully curated theater performance, and you are the intended audience of one. You'll see pictures with new people they don't actually care about, posted specifically for you to see. Cryptic captions about moving on or new beginnings, all designed to send a message directly to you. It's all one giant, fragile illusion, staged to make you ask yourself, are they really happier without me? Did they actually find someone better? But here's the key you need to hold on to. They don't care about those other people. They only care about your reaction. They are desperate for it. Because if you react, if you get jealous, if you reach out, if you ask them about what you see, then in their mind they win. They get the validation that they still have a hold on your emotions. But something has fundamentally shifted within you. You're not playing their game anymore. You've outgrown it. You see right through the cheap tactics and the fake displays of happiness. You understand that true connection isn't built on manipulation, and you are done wasting your precious energy on their childish performances. And your lack of reaction is what drives them even more insane. Their carefully planned attempts fall completely flat. They post, they pose, they plot, and they get nothing from you, just dignified, powerful silence. The harder they try to play, the more obvious their desperation becomes. The mask slips, and underneath isn't confidence. It's pure, uncut fear. Fear that they've really, truly lost you for good. The beautiful irony is this: by trying so hard to make you jealous, they only expose how much they still care. By pretending to move on, they prove that they haven't. By playing games, they show everyone that they've already lost. Meanwhile, you remain silent, unmoved, and completely detached. Because you finally understand the truth. Someone who truly values you will never need to manipulate you to get your attention. So let them play their little games. Because without your participation, their game is nothing but an empty, desperate show for an audience that has long since left the theater. If you're ready to stop playing games and start living in your power, hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video on building unbreakable self-respect. Stage 8. The crushing, deafening weight of silence. Silence. At first glance, it seems like nothing. No words, no arguments, no explanations, just an absence. But in reality, your silence is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. It is stronger than shouting, stronger than arguing, stronger than explaining yourself 1,000 times. Because your silence is not empty. Your silence is full. It is full of all the words you're no longer saying. It's full of their guilt, their regret, and all of their deepest insecurities. When you take your voice away, they are left with nothing but the deafening echo of their own thoughts bouncing off the walls of the void you created. And that echo is unbearable. At first, they won't understand it. They expect you to break. They have always relied on you to be the one to start the conversation, to demand answers, to chase. In their mind, your silence is just a temporary phase. Any minute now, they'll call. Any minute now, they'll text. But the minutes bleed into hours. The hours stretch into days. And with each passing moment, the silence grows heavier, more suffocating. They check their phone constantly, a nervous tick, refreshing notifications, praying for a buzz that never comes. They scroll through your old conversations, rereading the messages you sent when you still cared, trying to feel a ghost of the connection they single-handedly destroyed. Your silence isn't just an absence of sound, it's a mirror. It forces them to look at themselves without any filters. It forces them to hear the echoes of all the times they ignored your calls, all the moments they brushed off your feelings, all the days they operated under the arrogant assumption that you would always be there. Now, all of that neglect comes rushing back, amplified by the void you've left behind. In our world of constant noise and instant gratification, your silence is a pattern break they can't handle. It creates panic. It forces them to wonder, are they gone for good? Do they even think about me anymore? Their own mind becomes their worst enemy, feeding them an endless stream of anxieties. This is the genius of your silence. When you argue, they can argue back. When you explain, they can deny it. When you confront them, they can deflect the blame. But when you go completely silent, there is nothing for them to fight against. There is just the quiet, deafening, crushing weight of your absence. And the longer you hold that silence, the heavier it becomes for them. At first, it's just discomfort. Then it turns into anxiety. Then it becomes a full-blown dread, until finally, it's a crushing awareness that they have permanently lost access to you. So do not break it. Don't rush in to ease their pain. Let them feel every ounce of the silence they created with their indifference. Because they are about to learn the hardest lesson of all. Losing your voice is far, far worse than any argument you could have ever had. If you've learned to wield the power of your silence, show some love by liking this video. Stage 9. The primal fear that brings them crawling back. If silence is heavy, then this next stage, fear, is absolutely crushing. This is the stage where it all comes crashing down on them. This is the moment their pride, their ego, and all their pathetic games are burned away, leaving them with something far more primal, the sheer, abject terror of losing you forever. For the longest time, they were wrapped in a warm blanket of comfort and arrogance. They truly believed you'd always be there, an emotional safety net they never had to check on. They treated your presence like a guarantee, something permanent they never had to earn, but your silence has shattered that illusion. And when the brutal reality finally sinks in, fear grabs them by the throat and squeezes. This isn't a slow creep. It slams into them all at once. The thought, what if I've lost them for good? The panic, what if they've already moved on and found someone better? The vision of you laughing with someone else, building a new life with someone who actually values you. That thought alone is enough to make them physically sick. Their chest tightens, their hands shake. They are forced to picture a permanent future without you in it, and the image makes them want to vomit. Fear is the most powerful motivator on the planet, and when it takes over, it will drive them to do things that expose just how truly desperate they have become. They will reach out. They will apologize profusely. They will beg. You'll get those long, rambling paragraphs of text at 2 a.m., filled with all the emotions they should have shared with you months or even years ago. I was so wrong. I didn't appreciate you when I had you. I realize now how much you meant to me. You were my everything. Please, just give me one more chance. I promise I can change. They will pour their heart out, trying to convince you and themselves that they've finally woken up. Some will push even further. Unexpected calls from blocked numbers, unannounced visits to your home or workplace. They will blur the line between persistence and desperation, all fueled by the terror of losing you forever. But you need to hold on to this truth like a shield. By the time they get to this stage, it is already too late. Because while they were busy taking you for granted, you were busy evolving. You were rebuilding your strength, reclaiming your independence, and learning that you can not only stand without them, but you can soar. Their fear is real. Their panic is genuine. But genuine fear does not equal genuine change. Fear is not love. Fear doesn't magically erase the pain they caused or rewrite the history of their neglect. And this is where you will stand tall, unshaken. When they come crawling back, begging for another chance, you do not let them back in, because they need to learn the final, most brutal lesson of all. You are not an option. You are not a fallback plan. You are the prize they have already lost. You've moved on, you've chosen yourself, and by the time their fear finally catches up to them, you are already long gone. And that realization, that's the fear that will never, ever leave them. If you're committed to your growth and building unshakable self-worth, subscribe to this channel right now. We're on this journey with you. Stage 10. The ultimate victory, your emotional independence. This is it. This is where your entire journey comes full circle. This final bonus stage isn't about them at all. It's all about you. Because when you disappear, you're not just removing yourself from their life. You are stepping fully and completely into your own. You are reclaiming the most precious thing you have, your emotional independence. For so long, you were likely caught in a toxic cycle. A cycle of proving your worth, of bending over backwards for someone else's happiness, of pouring all your energy into a connection while you were starving yourself of that same love and care. And over time, you tied your own happiness to their moods, their approval, their attention. But when you vanish, you break that cycle. For good. You start to see with crystal clarity that your worth was never ever determined by how they treated you. Your value doesn't rise and fall based on whether or not they text you back. Your happiness is not chained to another person's presence in your life. And that realization, that is the purest form of freedom. You no longer crave their attention. You no longer obsess over what they think or how they feel. You have finally learned the most powerful truth in the universe. You do not need them or anyone else to be complete. That right there is emotional independence. It's the profound shift from chasing someone to choosing yourself, from needing their validation to finally, powerfully validating yourself. And here's the part that makes this stage so beautiful. They feel it too. They can sense the shift in your energy. They can see that you are not the same person they took for granted. You are stronger, sharper, more confident. You have evolved, and it radiates from you. While they are still stuck in their old, predictable patterns of chasing and playing games, you have moved forward into a place of peace and power that they can never touch. Their opinion of you no longer holds any weight. You have outgrown them so completely that their approval now means absolutely nothing. This is your ultimate victory. Not making them miss you, not making them regret it. The true win is standing firmly in your own independence, unshaken, untouchable, and gloriously unbothered by their chaos. So own it. Do not go back to the old ways. Do not give them the satisfaction of thinking they still have any control over your happiness. Because they don't, not anymore. You have claimed something far more valuable than their attention. You have claimed yourself. And that is the final, undeniable proof that you have already won. If you are still here listening to these words, it means you are ready for a life of true freedom, the kind that comes from within. As a final declaration of your new beginning, I want you to go to the comments right now and type emotional independence. Let that be your anchor. Your promise to yourself that you no longer need anyone else's validation because your strength is, and always has been, your own. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If this video helped you, please give it a like, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe for more content that empowers you to become the most limitless version of yourself. Remember, only you decide your worth.